Hey guys, I wanted to put this up because lately been a lot of concealed carry videos up, specifically never enough ammos, I believe. I don't know if I'm going to put this as a response to his or not. I connected my zombie apocalypse response to someone's, well, I'm not going to mention names, you guys know who it is, but I connected mine to it and he took it down because I wasn't invited. Which I thought was kind of funny. Whatever. I mean, I that's all I'm going to say about that. It's pretty stupid, I thought. But anyway, I just wanted to cover a little bit about New Hampshire concealed carry permits and such. With that, in New Hampshire, it's one of the few things that we still really do have the live free or die going for. In New Hampshire, there is no reason that you cannot be issued a firearms concealed weapon permit unless you are under a domestic violence order. More on that later. There's some interesting points. I've written a lot down because there's a lot to it. First and foremost, and this is the best part, it's $10. And you go in, you fill it out right there. You can fill it. That's what I suggest you do. Although the only thing that they ask that is you feel weird about usually is giving 3 references. You just give 3 references to people that used to be your boss or something. They can't be family members. They don't require those people to send letters or contact them. You go through have you ever been a drug user, felony, thing like that. It's $10. They cannot take more than 14 days to approve it. And I find that that's what they generally do, is take it. One thing, and this is for all you people in New Hampshire, don't expect them to call you, because they're not going to call you and say, hey, your concealed weapon permit's ready, come on down. You get it, you go to the police station in your town and you pick it up. And here's another little sticky thing. It's basically, are you in good graces with your police chief? I did not used to be. The new police chief now, he's a great guy. He's really, his name's Tim. He's a real good guy, and it's a real pleasure to see that happen to our police, our town, because the police chief prior was a real friggin' ball buster, and I started getting into it with him at the end, and. Kind of funny. End out, he got arrested for stealing from the DARE program, and taking. What he would do is, if he pulled you over for a DWI, he'd take you into his office and say, "Well, you donate $2,000 to the DARE program," and then he would take the money. Yeah, I know, it's pretty cool, huh? He also got caught, and I was very close to this happening to me. He got caught keeping confiscated guns. Okay? Now, a friend of mine was driving my car and got arrested, and I'm not going into too much other details, but he used to drive a Volvo as well, and that's what I owned, was a silver Volvo. And the gun was in the glove box. My friend didn't know it. And at that time, whatever, you're supposed to keep your concealed weapon permit with you. I just put it in the glove box, but I couldn't find it, or they couldn't at the time. The only one they found in the glove box was my expired one. So they had my gun, and they were trying to pin something on me just because he had my car, and they were trying to connect me to him. I'm like, well, he took my car. I don't, that's nothing to do with me. So, turns out I ended up finding out, I had, getting my license, getting a copy of it from the different town I lived in at the time, and I knew it hadn't been expired. They had only had the old expired one, and I went and said, "Oh, here's my permit. Where's my gun?" And they like, "Oh, here." But lo and behold, he would have kept that. But that he ended up spending some time in jail, and good riddance, because he was a ball buster. He was an asshole, and other cops do not like him. It's Chief Snow, and it's an interesting situation there. But anyhow, let's get back to the New Hampshire stuff. Cool thing with New Hampshire is, well, you can carry a loaded gun unconcealed. Unconcealed. Obviously, people know that, and I always get a lot of PMs about that. I don't go around with my gun on my belt. I'll tell you what. After what I'm going through in this last month, I bet I will for a week or so. Just because I want to be, show that I'm proud to have that freaking thing. But you are allowed to have a gun in your home or place of business, period. And you are allowed to carry loaded in your vehicle, even in the glove box, without a permit. So a lot of people in New Hampshire kind of feel like they don't need a concealed weapon permit because of that. I've had mine for probably, I'm going to say easily for 18 years now. My family's always been into guns. My father's kind of that, he's from New York, so the idea of us being able to have it's pretty great. But I've always had my concealed weapon permit ever since I was in my early 20s. But federal law does trump state law. Technically, in New Hampshire, the only place you can't carry a gun is a courthouse or the courtroom. Federal law says you can't carry in a 1,000 yards within a school. Although there's never been an arrest for that. Technically, you're not allowed to carry it in a post office either, because that's a federal building. So federal buildings, post office, and there is this kind of blanket free gun zone, federal law, I believe, which says you can't carry within 1,000 feet of a school unless you live within 1,000 feet of a school, and then you can't have it loaded. But that's here and there. But basically, that U.S. Code Section 930 is what is the federal buildings law. For those of you looking for that. It is the cool thing again, as I mentioned, it's only $10. There's no test. I can see that changing soon. I'm looking into, even just talking with my FFL guy. See, he gives courses, and potentially do a course anyway for when it comes up, because I got a feeling they're going to start doing that. You can get, if you're out of state resident, you can get your New Hampshire state carry permit from the state police. It's $100. Which I guess is still a deal considering what I've heard from the rest of you guys. It was only $20 last year and back, so they went up. They increased a lot of our taxes and things like that in the state, because we have no income tax in the state over this last year. There is no minimum age to own a long gun in the state of New Hampshire either, meaning you can be 10 years old and own a shotgun. However, it is illegal to sell anyone under the age of 18 a handgun, and sell anybody under the age of 16 any ammunition of any kind. But I thought that was pretty cool that I found out, you could be any age to own a gun, period, kind of that way. Let's see here. Something else I kind of was looking into, because this is neat. My concealed weapon permit is recognized in the following states, okay? Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, Missouri, Mississippi, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Utah, and Wyoming. Okay, so that's pretty cool. That obviously you have to check with those states to see what their laws are. But the reciprocity is between those states. What sucks is I'm bordered by Maine and Massachusetts. Maine's pretty liberal. I've been dragging my feet on getting my permit over there forever, and I should just get it because I work in Maine. It's kind of stupid, and I don't want to get into any hairy situation that way. But I border Massachusetts. I mean, there, like having a bullet is a felony without the right deal. One thing that you should be aware of, and this is something, again, to look in on your own. I'm not condoning this as law, but the Federal Gun Owners Protection Act of 1986 means you can lawfully possess and carry firearms for interstate travel to and from your destinations, okay, like let's say I'm going to Florida, okay, I gotta pass through Massachusetts. Well, I'm allowed to carry my gun there as long as it's in a locked container, okay. If my trunk doesn't lock, then it has to be in a locked case, and the ammunition has to be, I think, separate in a separate locked case. And it cannot be in a glove box, okay? So, but it must be a reasonably direct trip, okay? I mean, obviously, I don't think you get caught, but if you're allowed to stop for meals, gas, and even to sleep overnight somewhere. Like, say I had to sleep in Massachusetts, I could have my gun in my car, apparently, if I'm on a road trip. But I can't go to a movie or play golf or anything like that. Seriously, is what it says. So that's something to realize, but because that makes me think back. Because when I lived out in Arizona, boy, I just drove cross country. I had everything. I didn't bring my AR with me. I only didn't bring it because I didn't have room for it. But I did bring my guns with me, and God, I went through all kinds of fucking states, and some of them were definitely not on here. But let's see. A couple other things. New Hampshire, cool thing with that is we have 0 restrictions for federal firearms. In New Hampshire, you're allowed to have machine guns, silencers, AOWs, which is any other weapon, destructive devices, and SBRs, short barrels. I think all require basically is the $200 tax stamp. Some of them, like other weapons, it's very cheap. You can get stuff, I think, tax like $10. Like, I think you can do sawed-off shotgun things, maybe cheaper. I don't think you need a major stamp for that. I can be mistaken. I mean, you do need a tax stamp, but I think it might only be $10 or so. So let's see. Basically, that's the deal, guys. Yeah, it's easy to get a permit in this state, which is why it's silly that people don't have one. You know, I think it's something they should have because it can get you out of a hairy situation. You know, you never know when you're gonna need something like that. I just think it's kind of neat that even though I got my license here in the town I live in, I can carry down in Manchester or Concord, New Hampshire, which, you know, Manchester can be a pretty nasty place, and I think it's pretty cool to be able to carry, you know, in the city like that. But, you know, so basically, if you're from New Hampshire and you're watching this, go and get your permit. I mean, there's really no reason that you shouldn't. You know, it's your, you know, you've got that right to do it here, and it's very easy now, and I think you should do it before it becomes an issue. I mean, I like the idea that I've got, you know, 4 permits under my belt, and those are able, you know, so when you go in, it's a renewal, and, you know, basically it's a, you know, a no-brainer. But it's nice to have them. Again, I'm not going to get into the open carry thing. I can honestly tell you I have never open carried in this state. And again, I live in such a small town where, you know, again, state law says it doesn't matter, okay? This is something to be aware of. I don't have the exact terminology, okay? But even if you make anybody else feel uncomfortable or alarm them, you still have the right to open carry. You're protected under state law by that. So, I mean, you might go somewhere and people might call the police. You know, if they come and ask for your ID, I'm not going to, you know, if I've seen a video on here where a guy refused to give his ID because there was no probable cause, you know, just give them your ID, and that's the end of it, okay? If you're not creating a nuisance, then they can't take your gun or do something to you. But again, it goes into relationship with police. So sorry that was a little long and drawn out. I just thought I'd get that out there and tell you about New Hampshire, and I guess make you feel a little jealous at how easy it is. Okay, but all things considered, you can screw that right up pretty quick if you're not careful, or if you get a psycho that's looming around, they can screw it up for you. All right, guys. Thanks.